Recording has begun.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Shazad Hussain and I live at 20 Primary Way in Undercliff, Bradford, West Yorkshire. And today is the 4th of November 2023 on what is it? Bonfire night? On the eve of bonfire night, because it's the 5th of November, bonfire night. And today is day 88 that I've not seen or heard anything of my brother Talib, who's been abducted by the state and its agents in order to cover up their own previous misadministrations and failures that I've been looking to highlight. And here I am, sat in the winter, sat in the cold, in the rain, talking to myself, making videos in order to highlight my plight and predicament, given the fact that everybody's abandoned me. I've become a social pariah now, and alone and isolated without anybody to advocate or have my corner. And you know what, the reality is I like that way. I've never met a competent person. All the people I meet are incompetent, malevolent, maligned, selling their souls to the devil for money, for pieces of paper. I was discussing this yesterday. People sell themselves for money in order to live a life here. And, I just think to myself, what a price that people have paid. They've paid the price of hirs and muhabbat, the love and compassion and humanity, and got paper money. And instead for paper money, a brother will kill a brother, a mother will kill a child for money. And this is when they say money is the root to all evil, it's just quite clearly evident. And when you see it before you, how the evil that it plays in the world. I mean, these wars internationally are all money based, aren't they? They're all about resources. I mean, look how many people died in Iraq, how many people died in Afghanistan, how many people have died in Syria and Libya, and now are dying in Palestine and all around the world. It's all to do with money and power and control. It's always been the dominant force, hasn't it? And but money, particularly, this is the thing. The powerful and the elite give you money as a means to convince you that you have power and control. It's not true power and control, because they can switch it off when the CBDC currencies come in, or they can just take it away from your bank account, as they have done to many other people. So the idea of money is a complete and utter illusion, and it's not just something that I'm hypotheticalizing or just saying in an abstraction. It is literally fiction. It's that's where fiat currency comes from. Fiat meaning the Latin word for let it be. And this is the thing that people are chasing for. And particularly when I say people, I'm not talking about some unknown person out there. I'm talking about my own siblings, the people that came from the same womb as my mother. My own brothers and sisters are malevolently aligned with the local authority and the state's agenda to be silent, complicit. Just give us money, become consumers, let us just consume, and becoming part of the system. Now, the reason that they want you, this is how the system wants you. They want you weak, ineffective, impotent, and dependent. As long as you're those things, mainly dependent, then obviously they can control you. They have a leverage over you. If you are strong, independent, and competent, such as myself. I mean, I'm not saying I'm really competent, but I strive to be. I mean, let's just put it that way. I may not be the best version of myself, considering I'm only human and I've got my own flaws and fallibilities. But in a world where is everybody's relying on others, I'm trying to rely solely upon myself and being independent as much as I can, because I know dependency on the state or dependency on others, or mataji, as we say in our language, mataj. No, man, don't make me dependent on others. That's a philosophy that's been ingrained in me since my childhood. Not to be dependent on others. Be self-dependent and self-determining of your own future. Why would you make yourself dependent on others? So all those people out there that are working as a salaried wage slave or a salaried slave, you are now dependent upon your employers. And your employers can fold. I mean, I was reading a newspaper article today where a law firm that's been running for 159 years 159 years has recently folded, and as a result of which, as the company has folded, people have now basically been left on their own. It's not the case where many years ago you had a career for life, you had a job security. There is no job security, and why would you be dependent on others when those whom you are dependent on, namely the corporations of the state, such as companies, they can fold. They've got their own personal profit interest at heart, and they're exploiting your labor for whatever money they're giving you. They, at the end of the day, they're trying to say, well, you've got paid, so we don't owe you anything. They've taken your labor, they've taken the best years of your life, the most competent, when you were most competent, and you've spent that time slaving away in a system to get money, and that money that you've got now is designed to pay off your debts. Because let's be clear here, let's be 100% here, you're all drowning in debt. And this is one of the things I truly find the most sickening and abhorrent is debt. To be in debt. And this is what the local authority are trying to do to me now. They're taking away all my money, trying to make me go bankrupt so I can become into debt. Never take out debt. Because once you take out debt, you have to pay interest. And interest is usury. And usury is haram. Usury is haram. Interest is haram. So everybody who's got a mortgage out there, 20, 30-year mortgage, you're all committing haram. Living in a haram country, eating haram, sleeping in haram, swimming in haram, and then working for haram. It's all haram. Why would you buy interest? Why would you not? What's the alternative? All right, let's see what is the alternative. There's one aspect where you can go get a mortgage, live independently, be in debt. Alternatively, without being having a mortgage or living independently, live dependently within your family means. So when I'm saying live independently, it doesn't mean leave your family and live independently, because that leaves you into debt. I just want to be clear about this. Being independent does not mean you abandon your family unit. In fact, your family, the nuclear family, the family unit is the cornerstone of civilization and society. This is an interesting fact, but many people may or may not know. The Quran, I'm a Muslim, I read the Quran. The Quran itself is a small book compared to the encyclopedia and of libraries and certain subjects. It's a very small book. It's only 30 chapters, or no, 114 chapters divided into 30 evenly spread out chapters. So those 114 surahs, as they're called, cover very varying different subjects. But a majority of it, I would say about 30% of the Quran, the book revealed by God as to Muslims, about, I would argue 30 to 40% of it is dedicated to marriage and relationships in marriage, and because marriage is defined as the cornerstone of society. And so when I'm saying being independent does not mean abandoning your family, your birth family that you brought up in, your brothers and sisters, in order to work independently. That independence is a falsehood and a lie, because that independence only run on for the state's benefit in order to drive you into debt. You should be independent by being independent of debt. That's the clear point I'm trying to make here. When you're dependent on debt, by credit card, by mortgages, by such and such, you are then dependent on somebody else, and that somebody else's dependencies are charged at a rate of interest. And so this is why I never understood why usury was so bad, but now I understand that it enslaves you, and you're all enslaved into debt, and then the circumstances change, and you're paying off your student debt or your mortgage debt or your credit card debts, and you're all swimming in debt. And as a result of which, when the circumstances change and the environment changes, often not for the better but for the worse, such as a rise of interest rates, or so, as it's now at 5.25%, or when it was historically at 0.25%. Now cost of living crisis. There's a pending war in Ukraine that's been raging on for over a year and a half or more, and now this recent outbreak in the Palestine and Israeli conflict, which I'm trying to avoid speaking upon. So these change of circumstances, because we live in an interconnected world, they all have an adverse effect, and so your dependency. We're all independent because we live in an interconnected world. Because there's a saying that no man's their own island. Well, also, okay, that's fair enough. But you see, being dependent on others means that when one of those circumstances changes, or for one person, it has a ripple effect on everybody else. I mean, this is one of the reasons that the First World War was started, because of interdependencies and allegiances. And when Ferdinand got shot, Archduke Ferdinand got shot, it triggered, it was the catalyst that triggered the First World War, which was all these allegiances and dependencies on others. I mean, look, in the world today, who have we got that's truly independent? We've got a country like North Korea, who's reliant mainly on China but tries to be independent. They're nuclear, right? You've got to say something about that. Yeah, the people may be poor and suffering, but you know what? You compare the people in North Korea who are suffering, and I'm sure you've heard the horrific stories of the civilians that are living in North Korea under the totalitarian dictatorship of the Kim family. But then you also compare and contrast this with people living in the first world. No, America, particularly the streets of Philadelphia, you can see them all drugged up, drugged up to the teeth. You know, they're living on the streets in the cold and winter. Those people are equally miserable. You know, when you look at the lowest ebb of both societies, you know, which would you rather have? I would rather live in a poor country starving to death but not being dependent on drugs. These people in America are all dependent on drugs, and this is what my point, and I think the message that I'm going to be saying today is simply this: that you can make the state or the authorities or the powers that be want to make you dependent, and they do on the state or others, and they do this by first of all placing you into debt. And the second mechanism is by inducing you into drug dependency. And remember, drug dependency is not always recreational drugs, but also prescription drugs. So if you're in debt and you're on prescription medication and you're fat, lazy, and obese, all right, and incompetent, then you know this is how they want you. They want you all fat, lazy, incompetent, so that you don't have a strong moral sense of the compass, and then they want you drugged up on prescription medication. You think, let me just end this call now. But you see all these people here, they're all living in social housing. This is a social housing house, all right. And you see, these people are surviving okay, and the payment that they have to make is that they're all on drugs. I can assure you now that all of these people are going to be on drugs, prescription drugs, where the state says we're being benevolent in helping people, right, helping you with your problems. They're the ones that cause the problems. They cause you to become stressed and anxious, and then what they do is after inducing you to become ill, then they give you is that Hegelian dialect once again, isn't it? Yeah. Problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem, you have the reaction, and they provide you with the solution. And that solution is your subservience and dependency on others. Now look at me. Who am I dependent upon? The state. Everybody's turned against me. Everybody's turned against me. And I'm trying to hold my own as best as I can. Because you know what? When I am struggling in this situation that I am, it's going to force me to become more better at myself. I have a reason to cut my hair. I have a reason to go to the gym. I have a reason and purpose to fight the system, and I can't allow myself to be lazy and incompetent. I have to act with strategy, and I have to also manage my resources, and I'm trying to do a difficult job, and I can do it better than most people. From Land's End to Jonnock Road, I challenge anybody to be a better carer than I am. Why do you think they come after me? Why do you think therefore I charge £1 million a week for the services I provide? Anyway, I think we should leave it there. It's cold, it's wet, and I just wanted to finish off on the caveat that I am not, obviously you can see I'm depressed and sad down, but I use that stress as eustress to galvanize me, so I'm not suicidal at all. I don't have any health problems right now other than depression, but I've been dealing with mental health problems all my life, and so has all my family, so I'm very resilient to this. I won't kill myself. And if I do die, it's as a result of malevolence of others. I'm really now, my personal security is of grave concern to me, because that's the only way they can silence me. I don't even leave the house anymore. All right? I've got no need to. They're going to stage events to entrap me, and I've survived so many entrapped stages in the past. So I think it's just rambling on now. So I'm just going to give it a stop there. And so just last message is, I won't kill myself, and everybody, you should try to be independent as you can within the confines of your family. Never break down, never go against your own blood relations, never for money, because money is a fiction. I think that's a good way to end it. Won't kill myself, strong as ever.